Celeste is the single greatest platformer ever made. It was initially released on January 25th, 2018. It came to PlayStation Plus Extra with the launch of the service, and we'd be fools not to let you know about this indie gem. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a hidden gem. This game exploded onto the indie scene back in 2018, but it is a seriously fantastic game, and we really want to talk about it. As usual, this review will be as spoiler-free as possible, and that includes gameplay spoilers too. Celeste has a pretty fantastic story, but the tricks up its gameplay sleeve are far better suited as a surprise. With that in mind, we'll only be showing gameplay from the first 3 areas of the game, and the B-side of the first area of the game. Past that, the game really goes nuts, and we don't want to rob you of seeing it for yourselves. We cover a game every single Friday, so if you have a suggestion, comment below, and if you like what you see, subscribe. Right, bags packed, summits in sight, we're gearing up to let you know why Celeste is worth your time. The key to any great platformer is some solid gameplay, and Celeste delivers in spades. What boils down to a really basic moveset is expanded upon throughout the game marvellously. Starting off, you can run and jump, add a dash for that gameplay spice. Stamina keeps you thinking on your feet, and wall jumps let you extend your reach. Now, here's these traffic blocks for some momentum fun, space blocks for added movement, and fuzz that punishes you for second guessing yourself. This is just the beginning, and the game just keeps going far beyond what should be possible. There is never a dull moment here, and just when you think you've seen it all, Celeste pulls out a final twist to keep every single chapter memorable. The basis of all of this is the philosophy behind the movement. We'll boil it down nice and quickly here, but if you're after more detail, make sure to check out this video from Game Maker's Toolkit, and tell Mark I sent you, he'll have no idea who I am. Movement feels extremely brisk, but is razor focused and responsive. There is absolutely a learning curve here, and the difference between a beginner and expert in Celeste is staggering. There are a lot of forgiving design choices, such as Coyote Time, which means you can jump off of something even after technically falling off of it. Without this choice, the game would feel far clunkier. Each chapter does a great job of having its own theming, and whilst some are more heavier on the platforming, others do a great job of crafting set pieces to move the story along. Like this major bit where you help Shiro clean up. There are also some bits where you just stop and chat to some characters. These are a great inclusion to wind down with. The game is always pushing to blend gameplay and narrative. You should know going in that Celeste is hard. You are going to die a lot and you're going to want to give up. But this difficulty ties into the narrative wonderfully and provides an immense satisfaction once you overcome it. Thankfully, deaths are super quick. You'll respawn before you can even blink, and the game is very forgiving with checkpoints, always resetting you to the start of your current screen. Chapters are relatively short with minimal bloat, and you are always free to save and quit. You'll return to the screen you left off on. It's tough, but fair, and does a lot to stop the gameplay from getting frustrating. If you're after some additional support, the game also offers an assist mode, which lets you tweak things such as game speed, infinite stamina, invincibility, and more. If you decide to use assist mode, I recommend tweaking the game so that it is still a challenge, but not outright impossible. The game was designed with challenge in mind, but is accessible enough to allow you to choose that challenge. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the B-side cassettes and beyond. These cassettes are hidden collectibles that unlock harder versions of each chapter. These can get pretty damn challenging and are a very welcome addition if you want to put your skills to the test and allow you an avenue to unlock even further bonus levels. Cassette levels also have remixed music, and it only builds on what is already an excellent soundtrack. Strawberries make for fun little challenges, but they are fundamentally useless. I like them for challenges' sake, but I dislike that they're useless. You collect a lot of these things, and when you get to the end of the game, the bonus chapters are locked behind a completely different set of hidden collectibles you might not even know about. This is Celeste's biggest misstep in my book. With that said though, Celeste just nails the gameplay. Challenging, fluid, and fun in all the right places. It feels incredibly rewarding to finally beat that one screen that was giving you trouble, and the game manages to keep up an insane pace even after hundreds of deaths. Each chapter is something fresh, and whilst I have my personal gripes with a certain temple, it is objectively, mechanically sound and provides its own unique variety to the game as a whole. We're starting out strong with a 5 out of 5 for gameplay. Celeste isn't content with stopping at the gameplay. The art direction choices here are also fantastic. The overall art style is the best choice to complement the gameplay. The pixel art is defined enough to always allow you to see what is happening regardless of how fast you are moving. Hazards are always easy to spot, and this does a lot in negating frustrating deaths. Madeline's animations are very bouncy and brisk, her movement flows wonderfully and it only adds to the flow of the game. Other characters have their own designs, but what I'm really in love with here are the hand-drawn text boxes. These little details here really make it, like Madeline's hair falling out of her box, or Theo being correctly oriented when he pops out of the vent. I adore that every single chapter has an extremely distinct look and feel, from the brisk snow of the city to the otherworldly ruins to the creepy hotel and beyond. There is always something new to look at as well as to play with, and all of it is pulled off masterfully. Finally, we should talk about the music. Each track is a wonderful, nostalgic piece, harkening back to platformers of old with a fresh air. This culminates in the last 2 chapters with some of the most fantastic musical platforming sequences I've ever played. We won't spoil anything, but know that the push is worth it. Lena Raine has done an incredible job of portraying anxiety, depression, friendship and determination throughout this soundtrack, and it only elevates the game further. On top of the already great soundtrack are the remixes by other artists for the B-sides. These all provide a great twist on established tracks, and more good music is never a bad thing. We're really singing high praise here, but Celeste truly deserves it. This is solid art direction that suits the gameplay whilst bolstering the narrative. All of this is easily deserving of the full 5 out of 5. We're going to be talking about some heavier mental health topics in this section. The narrative is primarily focused around the mental health issues all of the characters struggle with and how they overcome them. You play as Madeline, who is suffering with anxiety and depression and who is determined to climb Celeste Mountain to prove to herself that she can do it. As a depressed person, I think this is a great framing for the narrative. When I get the motivation to do something crazy, like climbing a mountain, I just have to go for it because I know that the motivation won't last. Celeste Mountain is home to some mysterious powers, and seeing how each character comes to terms with their struggles and how that struggle translates into gameplay for Madeline is amazing. Story sections and beats are also integrated into the gameplay in a great way and culminate in some fantastic sequences towards the end of the game. These will seriously knock your socks off. The narrative here is a great look into mental health on its own, but with gameplay in mind, it is so much more than that. This is a game with a few tricks up its sleeve to help you with your own mental health, and I can attest to that. Celeste doesn't back down with another 5 out of 5 for narrative. Celeste is a great content offering backed by some solid performance and some great tweaks. You're getting a full story mode with bonus levels at the end and alternate levels to find and unlock. There's plenty of collectibles to find for the merit and the unlockables. There is also the assist mode that lets you tweak the difficulty to your liking. You have free save slots to mess around with, so you don't have to worry about deleting save files to play the game again. We encountered no bugs whilst playing. The game is snappy and polished. Settings provide some great tweaks to tailor your gameplay. Starting off, we have plenty of language options. You can choose vibration strength. Grab mode has its own settings. Controls can be fully rebound. This is really important as the base controls can be a bit finicky. I found mapping dash to the left trigger really helped. Photosensitive mode can be toggled on or off. Screen shake effects can be toned down. Audio has sliders for music and sounds. This isn't a lot, but it is all the game needs. There is an optional speedrun clock, which is honestly just a fantastic addition. There are no subtitle options, and as the characters don't have voice acting, this could be an issue. Fortunately, the default subtitles are extremely legible. I'm really impressed with the technical offering here, and I'm more than happy to give Celeste the full 5 out of 5. Let's round this out with a bang. Celeste is absolutely a game that respects your time. Hard drive footprint is tiny, clocking in at 1.63 gigabytes. This is my third time through Celeste, and it took me just under 4 hours to complete the main chapters. I did dig up my first playthrough on Switch, and that took me around 6 hours. This is a game where there is no extra fat, but you can always go for second helpings if you so wish. If you're hungry for more challenges afterwards, then there are unlockable B-sides and beyond. These will seriously test your skills and are a fantastic way to expand the game. Deaths are always super quick, you'll die a lot in this game, but you won't spend a lot of time being dead, which is nice. You also have the option to save and quit at any point, so if you need to fit this game in around real life, it couldn't be easier. The only gripe I have is with the collectibles. The strawberries are fun, but I don't like that they're useless. These should have been the collectibles to unlock the bonus chapters instead of the secret hearts. This isn't enough of a gripe to knock a point off, but it is worth mentioning. Celeste joins the 25 point club with a 5 out of 5 on our commitment scale. Celeste reaches the summit with a full score. This game is tough as nails, but every death, every setback, every struggle is so worth it. There is so much heart, care and precision game design here that it's honestly a little daunting. Even when the game stumbles towards the middle, I can only critique it as a matter of opinion. Believe me when I say that this is a mechanical masterpiece the whole way through, and is always pulling new tricks out of its sleeve. Celeste is a game that constantly delights and surprises. It is worth every second you put into it, and culminates in my favourite finale ever in a video game. The perfect climax of gameplay, narrative and art direction culminates to make you feel like you climbed Celeste Mountain yourself.